Today we're going to be going over a Wolverine Inferno Gen 2, a basic maintenance guide to cover just, cleaning and re-lubricating the unit. This is probably one of the best budget units on the market as it currently stands. Simple process, you're just going to remove the front end housing, take the nozzle out. Do not lose the O-ring or the spring that is located here. You'll have to remove the silver collar, which will push an O-ring off. Be very careful. You can place all that down. Then you have to remove the collar around the body. This is me just making sure of something on the unit, because sometimes you don't always remember everything instantly, but this is an extremely simple process. All you have to do is grab some good low fiber paper towels so you can wipe all the grease off. These blue paper towels do not leave a large number of small fibers behind. Small fibers will actually jam up against the O-rings and cause leaking issues. So you're just going to go through and wipe everything down to the best of your ability. It doesn't need to be perfect by any means for a basic level maintenance. This is recommended to be done at least once a year, but me personally on my units, I do it 4 times throughout the year on each unit I own. This just ensures that it always has a good fresh application of grease. So you just go through and wipe every piece of it down. I personally really enjoy the Wolverine Inferno Gen 2. It's super easy to tune. It's super easy to work with in general. I will say the nozzle here, it does split into 2 pieces. I do not personally take the nozzle apart for basic maintenance. The only time I would take the nozzle apart is if the internal O-ring is leaking, and I will be doing a full O-ring replacement video down the line. Here I was just looking in, make sure there's no debris down inside the nozzle, and I'm removing a little bit of dust that I had saw, and then I'm continuing to clean a little bit of grease out. A high recommendation if you're doing this is to make sure the nozzle is pulled forward so that you can clean the old grease out of the part that reciprocates back and forth in the 2-piece nozzle. And whenever you reapply the grease, as you will see here shortly, you're going to just, apply some in and jiggle it back and forth. Here I'm showing off the O-rings, so you know where every O-ring is located. This is the O-ring that you have to be careful not to lose. It goes over the nozzle when you have the silver collar on it. And there is one additional O-ring down inside there. I can't really show it to you, but it is inside on the reciprocating portion of the nozzle. I personally have always used Tech T gun salve as the grease, and I just use my fingers to apply grease. There's a reason for this. Q-tips put a lot of fibers in, which can cause leaking issues. Same thing with paintbrushes and so forth. But the whole point while you're greasing, you're just trying to get a nice thin coating across all surfaces to ensure that there is no issues whatsoever with lubrication and keeping the seals hydrated. But your primary focus when you're re-lubricating the unit is to make sure that you get enough grease on each O-ring. Here you can see me scraping the grease into the groove. As I talked about earlier, you're just going to get it in there, push it back, move back and forth, rotating it, so forth, to ensure that that new grease, the new fresh grease, gets distributed properly. And then I go through, once again, hitting up all the O-rings. I do recommend you give a nice little coating to the outer front housing, because some parts do rub inside the front housing. Now, I highly recommend you remove the grease off the black portion of the nozzle so that you don't accidentally get a bunch of grease into your hop-up unit. I made a mistake here. I put the collar on backwards, but you'll see me correct that mistake. Anyone can make that mistake. But this is the assembly of the nozzle. The silver piece goes on. Then the O-ring goes on. I will then grab my grease again and will apply grease to this O-ring. Once again, I do this with my finger. And I don't push the nozzle all the way in. You just need to get it part way in so you have the spring lined up. And you'll see here I'm struggling to put together because I put that main body collar on backwards. Here I flip it and correct my mistake. Fingers are greasy, so it was hard to put it all back together, but once it's all said and done, I'm going to have to reassemble it all. And you'll see that I grab the paper towel and I wipe everything down, including the nozzle again, just to minimize the amount of grease that's all over the unit. Now, I was trying to use my standard bench test setup for HPA units. Sadly, what ended up happening here is my trigger board down there for the F2, it's just started intermittently failing. So it is not working here. I will be swapping over to the original Inferno electronics for this unit. I just tend to always use my test unit. And apparently I need to get a new test board. I do apologize to everyone for the quality of this basic tutorial, the quality of the audio, the video, so forth. I'm just starting out with this. I don't have a whole lot, and I also have no experience other than the experience just working on the units. So please do forgive me for any minor issues on quality that y'all come across. And also remember that I will be making more and more of these videos based off my Patreon, VoxVox HPA Research. That will be available down in the description of the video. And the whole point of this is I am trying to get money to be able to purchase and test new HPA units so that I can give people objective reviews and just remove misinformation and just get rid of this whole, well, in my opinion, I am objectively trying to compare all the units together so that I'm giving us just raw of information as possible so that people can make the most informed decisions. I do hope those of y'all who enjoy these videos will keep coming back and watching, and y'all have a wonderful day.